Welcome please to the JVG podcast, where these G's are gonna spread their seeds of knowledge about the league. It's flourishing with these funny catchers seem to be well read, esteemed and honest, like the man himself, Jeff Van Gundy. They are high IQ, so cerebral and funny. So if you're on the bus, just border on the dunny, listen to the
JVG NBA tribute show.
Is it?
No, it's fine.
Okay, welcome to the last ever double-digit episode
Wow.
of the Jeff Van Gundy tribute show. I'm your co-host Lukas, joined for the last time in the double-digit era by my co-host Marco.
And what an honor to be here. Your game might be a little bit light.
I told you, I know, usually it's supposed to be like that, or maybe a little bit less than a 90-degree angle.
Right.
Yeah, shut up.
This is the last episode that could be on a basketball roster.
True.
There's no 100s.
I think once you get into AAU, but that isn't NBA. Yeah. But it is basketball.
True. And this is a freaking NBA podcast, so I want who's right there then.
I think either neither of us or both of us.
Well, that's nice. I think that's how it should always be. Perfectly equal. Like either wrong or right.
Yeah.
Great start to episode 99.
Yeah. So how do you feel about saying bye to the double-digit era?
It's pretty crazy. From next week, I can say I've done over 100 episodes of a basketball podcast. And I couldn't say that before. I should say I've done almost 100.
You're probably at about 120 episodes of a podcast, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Damn.
Definitely. Yeah.
Podcast guy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's quite cool that episode 99 is like the last episode of the 21-22 season as well.
It's really an immaculate situation. How did we manage that?
You know when people say you can't make this stuff up? And then it happens in real life.
Yeah.
So you can, and it did happen.
But you'd think this would be planned, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. But how could we have known?
Well, okay, so I just finished 100 episodes of my favorite D&D podcast, and the story ends in episode 100.
Oh, that was the plan all along?
Well,
it's gotta be.
Surely.
Yeah.
But also, how do you... Sometimes episodes are going to go for longer or shorter than you think they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't... we literally didn't know the NBA schedule 2 years ago because it hadn't been set.
Oh, true.
Just at the end of a shortened season, at the beginning of another shortened season.
True.
So there is absolutely no way we could have predicted this. But still, the planning to be all right, cool. Every little thread is going to be tied up by episode 100 is pretty incredible.
And to think we power delivered 8 episodes in the first week.
We really did.
The inaugural week.
Oh my god, and it made everything work out. Wow.
That was actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I think it becomes a better and better idea.
Oh yeah, 100%. There was just so much to start with. You know?
Yeah, and then also I figured out so much.
Yeah.
I did nearly all of my learning.
Did you drop big time halfway through recording that batch of episodes?
No. After that.
It was after that.
Yeah. I might go back and listen to one of those first 8 episodes in
preparation.
in the
next
lead up
week.
to episode 100.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear myself say big time. Because I would have said it 3 times since episode 8. 2 of those times would have been as a joke.
Yeah.
One of those times I didn't even realize I was saying it.
Is this just on air or in real life?
IRLs. As well as on air.
That's crazy. The only other person I know who says big time with regularity is a friend of the pod, housemate of the pod, Ned Ryan. He says it all the time.
Because of the pod?
I don't know. I think that's just how he talks.
Yeah. I lost a little bit of myself that day.
Yeah, but that's what growth is, isn't it? Sometimes you got to cut a bit away to grow like another limb or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Much like the Boston Celtics moving into next season.
Very nice. Did you have any... I feel like you should maybe talk about your exploits last night before we get to the NBA finals.
My exploits?
Yeah.
Oh, what does exploits have to do with that?
You were successful.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I think you're misunderstanding how I'm using the word exploits.
I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Yeah, I'm just I guess I'm in my prime. I guess that's what's happening. I'm in my basketball prime. We had 2 cancellations last night for both my games. So we got the Brickies and the Saganakis to play each other, and we ran around, had a scrimmage. A couple of games we were playing 4-on-4 half court. A couple of games to 11. Then the last game was 20, 21. I hit. This is a number set by Harry Fail, Finals MVP of the Canadian College Basketball League a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and young Canadian sports person of the year. So whatever.
He said I had 12 threes, and I honestly don't know what the final number is, but it's completely within the realm of possibility, and I choose to believe him.
It's insane. That's so many threes.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
How many open? How many wide open? How many 17% covered are we talking here?
I want to say 2 wide open, and then the others. Oh my god, very well defended.
Yeah.
Which makes it even all the more sweeter.
Of course it does.
Yeah. I honestly don't think Sam could have done a better job at guarding me.
Yeah.
But I mean this without trying to gloat. There is nothing he could have done. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It was feeling pretty good.
How many times did you yell out "bop dummy" or "coke butter cheese"?
No, I was in the zone.
Yeah,
I was
right,
no time for mate, no
Okay.
no time for friendship. One of those wide open threes came on the came on an offensive rebound. Or, I don't know. I cleared the ball out. Ned was on me, and then he just turned his back and left me, and I was like, I think I'd hit 5 at this point as well.
That's pretty sick.
And then Ned turned around, started running to Darrell, and then I was wide open, and I was like, "Yeah, you're going in there for the rebound, but there's no rebound to be had."
Do you think he was resigning himself? He was just going to collect the ball a little bit quicker.
No, because he was right up on me, and I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's right up on me. I probably can't get a shot off."
Right,
and then he just left, and I was like, "Oh, I guess." Good offense, good game plan.
Yeah, wow. When will it end?
Yeah, it's gotta be soon. I think.
Do you really?
I think it should be pretty soon.
Can't you just keep hitting him? I don't.
I hope. Look, I hope to gain media access for the World Cup in Sydney at the end of September, start of October of this year. I hope to be really hot until then. Mm-hmm. I hope to have some opportunities where it's oh, look, all the media members are having a shoot around, and I just fucking lace them. Just rack them and stack them. Bop, dummy, coke, butter, cheese, reel them all off, do the night celebration. Yeah, I hope to be like an absolute flamethrower. After that, I'll be 25, so time to hang them up.
That'll be so funny because, I mean, let's not overestimate the international basketball media too much. But there might be some legitimate American WNBA journalists there.
Yeah, that's true.
Who you're going to be shitting around with in this completely hypothetical situation.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty good.
It'd be awesome. And I don't have media access yet at all.
No,
Neither
do I. I would have told you if I did.
I haven't even gotten an email back.
Yeah.
But you asked when's it going to end. I just hope it maintains until then.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I'm down for that.
Well, if you are, then I
am. Well, speaking of when will it ever end? Yeah, the season is over. Finally. Jesus. That 82 games, way too many, man. I can't do this again. My first 82 game season. I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, how does it feel?
Yeah, fine.
I really wish I remember more how the season felt at the end of the regular season versus how it feels at the end of the postseason, because it's always night and day.
Yeah.
It is always two completely different things. But I can't remember how the end of the season felt.
I think you're just super excited. I don't think...
Yeah.
You're not even watching that many games at the end. You're just I just really want all these to happen so we can get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
And know what the arrangement of everything was. I just remember being absolutely pissing my pants with excitement.
You were. I do see more clearly now.
Yeah. And now it's just I don't know, it's satisfying. And I feel like we got the right outcome this playoffs,
Yeah.
I feel like pretty much every series the worst team lost. And I don't mean that just in the literal sense. I mean, it was I feel really satisfied about the outcome of that. The team that played badly they got their comeuppance, and the team that played well progressed. It wasn't they kind of played badly, but they still got through, or whatever. And yeah, obviously the Warriors were going into the playoffs, the team that looked like they deserved the championship the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that point about the team making more stakes got their comeuppance happened in the finals as well. And I think that if I were a Boston fan, this is a stomachable loss, these finals. Because you had 3 great series with some like really great games in them. And then there is no way that Boston could have won the finals from what we saw. There isn't like that game could have gone our way. Oh, this play could have gone our way. Oh, this stretch, if we just done this, and this differently. It was like, okay, we came up against a better team who showed us what winning a championship looks like.
Yeah.
And now next season, the Celtics, I reckon, are in the driver's seat, even ahead of the Bucks. And how they respond will be massive. I think Jason Tatum could really be a superstar next season, or maybe next playoff run, because he has a lot. There's a lot he can that he can change about his game.
100%.
Completely within the realm of his current skill set.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that seeing this series is massive for Boston, and I think that Brown and Tatum will win a ring together at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I think that point about they did everything within their realm to win, and it just wasn't going to happen because the Warriors were the better team. I think that's really true. Like, I think the Warriors, after game 1, and then to a lesser extent after game 3, like, they made the adjustments to win this series, essentially. Like, you could tell in game 2 that it was like, all right, they've done what they need to do to not let this Boston team win more than one more game in this series. Whereas it was like, what did Boston do? Like, there wasn't like a path to victory for them. I think I would say after game 2, but like definitely after game 4, it was like, that's it. Like, I don't know what you do with these players, with the amount of experience you have against this team to win in this situation. Tatum in game 6, he looked like fucking ass.
Yeah.
Like, he played really badly. But I think you're right in that the takeaway from this is that he showed that he can just completely be the engine of an offense in this series, and like Boston needed him to be. Like, he was the only playmaker out there for them, like the entire series, essentially. He's not there yet. He turns the ball over way too much. I think his like decision making, it's insane. Like, he's been in the league for 6 seasons or something, and he like his decision making still isn't quite there.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first. I feel like this playoff run was the first time it was like, all right, let's really, like, it was the first time it was really challenged. Like Tatum has to be the guy running the offense. He's going to be the guy getting all the attention of the defense, so he has to be playmaking on pretty much every possession, making his own shot. And I think it'll just be like, I mean, maybe this will be it. Maybe this will be the experience he needs to take that next step to be like, okay, fuck, he's going to put up like 28 and 8 every night. He's like a LeBron James sort of level, not LeBron James level, but that sort of like offensive engine. Yeah,
and he had some really great playmaking. They're 2 wins. He had 2 great playmaking games.
Yeah.
I when I was writing about like what next for the Celtics, I thought that like for them to win a championship, it isn't about what they don't have. It's about they're going to win the championship by fixing their current issues, not by bringing someone in like a different skill set, which will help. But like what I've written is, if Marcus Smart just progresses naturally, like just a tiny bit more, if Jaylen Brown improves his ball handling, and if Tatum fixes his attitude, body language, ability to lead, and his care for the ball, then, which are all really achievable goals. And it's like more about their perspective of, or how they approach the game, rather than like the talent. The talent's already there.
Yeah.
It's just about like fine tuning their approach. But if they just do those few things, then it's like it's them and the Bucks, and then maybe the Heat's like the next tier down. Yeah. But like they've shown that like they finally broke through to that. Okay, they're going to be contenders now. They did that this season, and now it's just about like becoming champions.
Yeah, 100%. I think my only disagreement there is that I think they can upgrade their bench. Like, I think Grant Williams and to a lesser extent Derek White have been pretty overrated in these playoffs. And don't get me wrong, like, they've both had enormous games. And if you can perform in that environment, like, you're a good player. But there's, Grant Williams was useless in this series. Like, I don't think he had there wasn't a single time he was on the floor. It's like, oh, you're like getting good outcomes here. Derek White, obviously, is such a good defender, but also like in all of their losses, he played awfully. You know, he's not like, yeah, like he's probably not the sixth best player on a championship roster.
Yeah.
He's maybe like one step below that. But apart from that, all the tools are there. Yeah, like you've got, I mean, okay, Al Horford, he's gonna get too old to play basketball pretty soon. But like you have four players that are like completely locked in to a championship team.
Yeah, I think my only point about like you could bring 3 great bench players to this team, but if Tatum still plays like that, then you're not going to win the ring.
That's so true.
Yeah. So like, I think that fixing those issues internally need to be step 1.
Yeah.
Like don't skip that step before you improve the bench.
Yeah.
And like this, I feel like the Warriors can do this as well, but like just developing depth.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be a priority for both of these teams as well.
What was that? Yeah. I think this season, they only really figured out like how they play as a team this season. You know, like under a new coach, and they figured it out so quickly. Like in the grand scheme of things, taking 20 games to become the best defensive team in the league is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, they are so well equipped to do what you're saying next season. Like, if that's the development they can have over 50, 60 games, then yes, like they can just so easily fix those issues. I guess it is just more that it will be more personnel based.
Yeah.
And that's like a bit more delicate.
Yeah. I think that's everything I had on the Celtics.
Yeah.
Unless you had some more.
Nah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, fair shout, but... See you next year. Yeah. I mean, call it with the Kobe shit, man. Just don't do that next run. Let's just put that on the table.
Yeah. Win a ring. Like, I think that if you just kept your mouth shut and won a ring, that'd be probably the most respectful thing you could do for Kobe. Now, like Warriors side of things, how can you not just feel so happy for them?
Yeah.
You're so right about like at the end of the season, this is the team that should have won the ring. That was like supposed to win the ring these playoffs. Like if the playoffs ended, like from the start of the playoffs looking till the end, if you knew the Warriors were going to win, you'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's what should happen. And yeah, like you gotta like I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for all of them, especially Steph. Yeah, it's just like it makes you feel good about basketball.
Yeah. And I think this game was like, it just felt like. I feel like what's almost been most impressive about this Warriors run is I think in pretty much every against Denver they were just like so fucking unstoppable. It was ridiculous. But I think in almost every other game in the playoffs there was like one cog that wasn't like one piece that wasn't quite working. Whether it was like an individual player or like a part of their game or something. And they still obviously managed to win like 12 games of basketball over that period of time. But this was the one where it was like everything is absolutely clicking. Like Draymond had his best game. Definitely best game of the finals, potentially of the playoffs. Like he had the classic Draymond line, but he was just like more even than hitting the threes and hitting his shots. He was just him and Steph's chemistry was unrivaled in this game, I thought. There was that one play in the third quarter where like it was like transition and he was like open for 3 on the line and then Steph kind of came. I think Derek White was on him. And he just like kept resetting a screen. He reset it like 3 or 4 different times. He's like, I'm getting Steph. Like, I'm getting him a look and he's going to hit it. Like, I know that he's going to hit it as well. And obviously he did. like, even someone as good as fighting over screens as Derek White, he's like, I'm going to get you eventually. And like, this is going to be a bucket. And yeah, like it did one of those beautiful like piffs right through the paint, like the little behind the back pass. So I think it was so satisfying to be like, it's such a crowning moment for them to win the ring while playing like everyone on the court playing well. Yeah.
I would say that Draymond's best games were all in the Denver series. He was great, like unbelievably good against Jokic. But like, I want to know what his 3-point shooting is in game 7s. Because against the Cavs, the year they lost the 3-1 comeback, I think he was 5 of 7 from 3.
6 of 8, yeah.
6 of 8. And he had 35 or 37 points or something.
Nuts.
Yeah, because I feel like game 2 and 3, maybe 3 and 4, or maybe 2, 3 and 4, he really looked bad.
Yeah.
Like he would start the game and you'd feel his impact, like sheerly because it was just like, oh shit, Draymond's on the court. You don't want him to get going, and then he wouldn't get going, and he was still he's still good enough to play for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, he's not working this game. Maybe the last 8 minutes we don't play him. But then to have like such a great closeout game from all of them.
Yeah.
It was a really good full stop on the series. And on their run, there's this whole argument about, is this a dynasty or not? And it's just like, what is it if it isn't?
Yeah. What are you talking about? Like, there are there are 4 players who have been here for every championship, over at least 2 contracts each. Like, if you just think about the NBA in like logistical terms, like if you're a franchise for longer than 5 years, like you're kind of like a long-term player there, right? And these guys have been together for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they won 4 championships. What else is it?
What was this season? It was NBA 75. It's the 75th anniversary of the league, which means that if they've been together for 10 years, that's more than 10% of the existence of the league.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't understand where this, it's a run, not a dynasty is coming from. Because then also, can you be like, all right, well, was the Bulls in the 90s, was that just 2 3-peats?
Yeah.
Because Jordan actually he's in a different league. He's in a different sports league for one of those years.
Yeah.
So I just think I don't understand. I just think that this team gets discredited quite a lot, the Warriors. But I just don't understand how, if this isn't a dynasty, then what is it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're telling me that it isn't a dynasty, you cannot be telling me it's a run.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I feel like this ring was like the dessert. Like, maybe not as tasty as the entree, or as full or as filling as the main, but kind of faultless.
Yeah.
Not why you came to the restaurant, but yeah, it played its role, and you're happy with it.
It would be wrong if you left dinner without it.
Yeah, but, and I did have to Google this term. I do think there's going to be a mignard day.
Yeah, right.
Was
that like an espresso after your dessert sort of thing?
It's also called a petit four.
Right.
Petite four.
Right.
And it's just the meal you have after the dessert.
Right.
It's like a little cake or something.
Right.
Or a little sweet.
Jeez.
I don't think it's going to be next season. I think it's going to be the season after.
Wow.
but yeah, I don't think they're done winning rings.
That's I just think the wheels have to come off at some point. Like, these guys are going to be really old in 2 seasons' time.
Yeah.
And Steph has not shown it a single bit. Draymond, I think Draymond looked as athletic as he's ever looked in this playoff run. In, the 16-game man himself. And obviously, like, he's never going to have like a 30-point game like he did 6 years ago. But in 2 years, that's a really long time away. But do you think there'll be bigger contributions from guys like Poole, maybe Kuminga, maybe Wiseman?
Great question. Great question, Marco. Now, first thing I want to say is that I was watching Making the Case for... have you seen this series, Making the Case? Clayton Crealey, he does this series called Making the Case. I think that's his name. There's this series called Making the Case, and he makes the case for 8 different NBA players as the greatest player of all time.
Right.
And he makes the case for I don't know how many teams as the greatest team of all time. And he tries to look at it unbiasedly and just make the case for that team. So, like, for players, there's a video on LeBron, and the point of that video is to make the case that LeBron's the GOAT. And then he'll have one on Jordan, and the point of that video is to make the case that Jordan's the GOAT. So I was watching the Warriors 2017 Warriors is the greatest team one, and Clay and Draymond are so much more athletic.
Yeah.
Like so much
true,
more.
True.
And yeah, they were so unstoppable. But to think that like this version of the team was capable of winning a ring with Clay at like 80%, Draymond at like 85, Steph still at 100, and no KD. Like that's how much how much their capacity dropped, and the fact that they could still win a ring.
Yeah.
Just like they're in that like LeBron, Greg Popovich, like conversation of they're going to dictate when they're done.
Yeah.
Now, but I do think next season, Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, their minutes need to start with the 2.
Yeah.
Minutes per game need to start with the 2. And I actually think the Warriors are going to miss the playoffs next season.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of big calls.
What is going on here?
So let me take you through it. I think that Steph, Clay, Draymond are going to miss time next season.
Yeah.
Considerable time. I think Steph might play like 40 or 50 games. I think Draymond might play like 30. And I think Clay might play like 20 or 30. Just because they're cooked, and fair enough. Which is why I'm thinking they reload for the season after.
Right.
After developing their young guys a little bit more. Which would then lead to them having more depth in the 22-23 season.
I mean, you can really make the argument that like this championship comes off the back of that same sort of situation, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That also plays into it.
Like, yeah, they obviously completely bottomed out in 2020, got the number 2 pick, and then, I missed the playoffs again. So they came into the beginning. But then even this season, like, you know, Clay didn't come back till, how many 50 games in? Draymond missed a lot of time, but like, was that to his benefit, you know? Like, did he have a lot more stamina coming back into the season? Coming into the playoffs? If so, that's kind of like a genius way to not do what, like, I don't know, maybe the Miami Heat did after their finals run, where they just like completely cooked all their players and like, but we're gonna win it next year, so that's fine.
Yeah,
it's like you're actually not going to.
Yeah,
like, do you need years off between championships?
Well, I think that at a certain point,
once your players are over 30,
but like after you've won 3 rings in 4 years, like the Warriors did the first time around, they like KD dropped, Clay dropped, and then they ended up losing against the Raptors. You know, credit to the Raptors, they won the ring. You can't. It's finite. There's finality in that.
Yeah.
But like, if they were healthy, they would have won.
Yeah.
The Warriors would have won for sure. But then, Clay probably needed that time off, and Steph probably needed that time off whichever year he missed all that time, like to recharge.
Yeah. Does that make LeBron going to the finals 9 years out of 10 all the more impressive then? To bring LeBron back into the conversation.
Oh, I've missed it dearly. Oh man, I just think that is so fucked.
Yeah. Like, if we take the premise that the Warriors kind of having 2 seasons semi-off, won them, helped win this championship for them, then what the hell?
Like a ticket to the finals. You just on his team. You were in the finals. It was guaranteed. There was no discussion to be had about it. You just made it. You just made the NBA finals. Like, it was just something. It was like getting a coffee.
Yeah.
Like, the question was, will I beat this? Oh, look, the fucking team I'm playing against again. Like, will I beat this team? Probably not. But will I make it there? Yes, I will.
Yeah, and then I mean, you compare, right? We're calling the Warriors a dynasty, and the dynasty obviously starts, you know, when they draft Steph, when they draft Clay, when they draft Draymond, when they sign Steve Kerr. You know, Mark Jackson probably helped out a little bit there at the beginning as well. Whereas LeBron shows up on the Cavs, they trade him 2 superstars, and he gets to the finals 4 years in a row. Like, which is, one is obviously like the right way to do basketball, you know, like to you know, put your faith in homegrown players, to build this philosophy around, you know. Build this like solid team philosophy. The other thing is getting LeBron James on your team, and it just changes overnight.
They're both good tactics.
Yeah, you know, like the Warriors had, like, obviously complete credit to the franchise. They had the perfect storm. They had like 3 really good players who fit really well together, and also they got this rookie coach who knew what to do with them. Nothing really aligned for like the 2014-15 Cavs, except that LeBron James was on their team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's. Yeah. I think that, but like, if you're not going to have this like 10-year approach as the Warriors have had, then it's, and like what the Bucks did last season, like you either have to have this massive 10-year view of we're going to build a dynasty and build a contender, but then there's the other view of like, oh, my career is probably going to last 16 years. Yeah. So I need to win now.
Yeah.
And that's the approach LeBron takes. But to go back to something we talked about on the Deep 2, without Dante, a couple of weeks ago, go check that episode out on thedeep2.com. Or Spotify or Apple. But talking about how when the other teams were complaining about the Warriors paying so much tax, when you do build a team, now fucking Jesus Christ, I've gone so roundabout to make this fucking point.
Well, it better be good then.
But to be in the position to pay the tax, you need to build a team well.
Yeah.
And that is the competitive advantage of running a team well and running an organization well. And that's why they're in this position. They're in this position because they're benefiting from the rules that 30 teams agreed on. Let's call it 30 for fucking argument's sake. But they're benefiting from these rules that everyone signed off on and everyone is operating under. And that's why they're winning. Yeah. Because they did everything right and well.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, is like, don't pay the tax just because you can pay the tax. You know, you need to be in a good position in like every other department before you even consider paying the tax. Don't want to put too much importance on paying the tax, but it is like, you know, that's something that teams get criticized for. That's what teams get criticized for and against, you know, whether they pay the tax or not. But I feel that's like a hallmark, like, oh, we're really serious about contending. Yeah. That's not enough. Just having 3 guys on your roster getting paid more than $30 million a year, that's not enough of a sign that you're contending.
Yeah. And to be in the position to go over the tax to re-sign a player because they've been on your team for enough years and that you can pay tax on them, like that's I think that goes back to like the dynasty thing as well. That is a dynasty. The fact that the Lakers can't go and sign another star is because they can't go over the tax because they haven't been building this thing. They're just like, all right, let's chuck these players together. And it worked for one ring. Yeah. But then AD went AWOL and they fucking decided Westbrook was a good idea.
Yeah. No, that's too right. Is that what happens? Is that what happened at the end of the Last Dance? The thing that happened in real life, that it was just gonna get too expensive to keep that team together.
You can't make this stuff up. I actually don't recall. I think they were trying to retool for like an early 2000s run or a mid 2000s run, knowing that the players were going to be on the decline. I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was a like wanting to rebuild thing.
Yeah. I just had it in my mind that it was like the owner was like, I'm not going to pay to bring all these guys back next year. Like, a couple of them are going to go.
But I think that they would have loved to have them. I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was a rebuilding thing. Because if you re-sign them all, they're gonna make that fucking money back 10 times over. Yeah. Like at the end of the Bulls dynasty, there's no way that wasn't financially. If you paid them all $30 million, there is no way that they were so hot. They were so hot.
He would have made so much money. Jerry Reinsdorf would have made so much money.
So I feel like
he's still making money from that team.
I feel like that decision was more about rebuilding.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Getting some value in for the players.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know what's
well, is there anything else we want to say about the Warriors? Oh, did you see any this is such a bad way to phrase this question. Were there any celebrations or post-game interviews that you thought were particularly endearing?
Endearing?
Yeah, or funny or cringe.
No, I'm not sure. I liked Draymond's podcast he did a couple hours after the thingo. I liked how he called out some ex-players that are like selling out. Ex-players that go into media that are selling out. And then he also says one other thing that I also liked. But other than Draymond's pod, nothing really.
Yeah. Nah, it was all quite measured, I thought. Can all things considered.
Yeah, it did seem to be like the least reckless celebration I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, I have this really awful theory about the Warriors.
Okay.
A lot of them are family men.
Nothing's bad so far.
But does that make them better? I don't like the idea of just because a lot of their players are in long-term relationships and have kids that they have a better team culture. It kind of goes against what I believe in personally.
I'm not sure. I think that maybe you're onto something there. I think that maybe religion plays a part in it as well.
Wiggins looked blazed as fuck afterwards, but
that was so funny.
You know, Steph ain't hitting the doobie.
Nah, no way.
No fucking way.
Nah, I feel like, no, because there was no. Even for the Warriors, this was like the most tame.
Yeah.
Aftermath. Because I remember once they were like popping bottles, like spraying Steve Kerr with champagne. When Draymond was getting interviewed and he was obviously high.
Yeah.
And he was like, "We won, yeah. They lost, yeah. We're good, yeah. The Cavs won, no." And then even Giannis last year, like going with the championship trophy to Chick-fil-A, and he was like, "Can I get the 50?" Oh, sorry, I can't do this.
The 50 piece.
Yeah, getting the 50 piece.
But you know, the Bucks had PJ Tucker. You know, they had possibly one of the unruliest NBA champions ever.
What did he do?
He was just he was so drunk. Like,
oh, right.
I don't think I've seen many people drunker than PJ Tucker was on their championship parade day. And I can't remember what the dynamic was. I said it on this pod, but it was like, I think it was Drew. Like, him and Drew were like standing next to each other. Like, Drew, another nice Christian family man. He just gave some like really like reserved, like tame, nice speech, and then PJ like snatched the mic off him. He was like just drinking from a champagne bottle. I got the dog in me. Just such a nice contrast, you know. Like, what I'm trying to say is maybe you need both the dogs and like the good boys to win a championship.
Oh, to win to bring it back to that. Is PJ in a long-term relationship? He's like. He should be. He's got 2 kids and he's like in his late 30s now.
I don't know, man. I can't imagine anyone who played on that Rockets team like being in a relationship.
Oh god, that is such a good point. That's such a good point.
He married. Yes, no. He's got a long-term. He married his long-term girlfriend. They have 3 children. Guess what their names are?
PJ Tucker Jr.
No.
Oh,
they're King, Zoe, and Alia.
Oh, Ali's a nice name.
Yeah. King. I mean, I could take it or leave it.
I don't think you should name your kid King.
It'd be pretty.
What if they become a king one day?
King.
King Tucker.
He'd still be King Tucker, I guess.
Actually, King Tucker would be sick. What you said was funny.
In the power forward position.
No, you said.
It'd still be King Tucker.
Yeah, I guess. That flew under the radar. That's hilarious.
Oh god, we're really derailing here.
Yeah. What's up?
Well, one thing that the Warriors will have going for them next season is their assistant coach Kenny Atkinson will be returning to the franchise.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, I do say. Despite. I mean, like, I feel like he publicly agreed to the Charlotte Hornets job.
Yeah.
He will not be going there. He turned it down. And I think he was like, yeah, no, we were still in talks. It was just reported early. But I don't know. It was reported by the guys who, when they report something, it's already done. It's already signed and finished. So, I mean, my thought is obviously, I mean, he would have had a pretty good inkling they were going to win the ring when he interviewed with the Hornets. Maybe actually winning the ring, seeing this, and then seeing Montrezl Harrell get arrested, seeing Miles Bridges acting the fool on Instagram, just when he's about to sign a big contract as well. Maybe he just kind of wanted to avoid that situation over there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair takeaway. I think Atkinson's making the right decision. Why would you not stay in a lesser role in this organization? Especially if you re-up for 2 more years and then a part of the 23-24 championship Warriors. Hornets coach. Who the fuck's going to be?
Well, I think Mike D'Antoni was I think he was like their second choice when they offered the job to Atkinson. But I think they're going to like re-interview everyone basically.
Fuck that shit, dude. Just sign D'Antoni.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, get this team out of my life. Get this team to play the most fucking blitz 5 seconds or less offense.
Yeah.
Get LaMelo to just average 22, 8 and 8. Nah, actually, if D'Antoni's the coach, 24, 7 and 10 or something. Just get them to max out their offensive game next season. They're still so young.
Yeah.
It's like, get a realistic view of where this team is going. Get them to completely like turn all of their offensive sliders up to as much as possible and just master that end of the court. And then next season after that, you can start focusing on the D a little bit more. But I think that it's such a good progression for this core with like a really good scorer in Bridges, a great scorer in Rozier, and then just like potentially going to be the best playmaker in the league in LaMelo.
Yeah.
Just give them D'Antoni for a season.
Yeah. I know that this is not something that happens, but I'd love them to sign D'Antoni and like a young coach to like a D'Antoni head coach for 2 years, young coach, assistant coach for 2 years sort of contract, and then like the young coach slides into the head coach role. Because I think I agree with you. Like the basketball they will play with D'Antoni as their coach will be so fun, and it will just max out. Every player on this roster like has such a good offensive ceiling, and that should be your priority. But I just think a team of this age, like you want a coach that's going to grow with you. Yeah. And like D'Antoni is, I want to say he's 70 something.
It could be. He's probably 70.
Like he's 71. He's not going to have much more in him. But also like, I don't know, like not many coaches are actually good after 70. I think at a certain stage, like he'll kind of lose track of what's going on in the league.
His cognitive ability.
Yeah, that might go too.
No, I think I like that idea. It's kind of a footy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty AFL thing. Yeah.
But what D'Antoni has done in Phoenix and Houston and to a lesser degree in New York, all those teams that he was coaching, you had to beat them. Like Phoenix in the 2000s, if you were going to beat that team, you had to beat them. They had all these strengths and you would have to take them away or somehow outplay them. In Houston, same deal. I think everyone who listens to this pod would probably have watched Harden at the Rockets. But that's probably, I probably should have started with that example. But like, they were winning 60 games, I feel like, or like high 50s in those seasons. And if you left a game against them with a win, it's because you had to beat them and you had to take away a few of the things that they could do. And I think if you implemented that in Charlotte, then at least they like start building this like winning thing. There's this idea of winning, and there's this game plan that they will come accustomed to. Like we're just winning. I think that D'Antoni I think he's a good step for whoever the next coach is for them. But I think D'Antoni's a really like vital step as well.
Yeah. And you can't see him going into this situation and not doing well in at least a minor form. Like he's not the sort of coach who's going to go in and they're going to regress. Yeah, is what I'm trying to say. And the fit makes so much more sense. And let's say when like the New Orleans Pelicans signed Stan Van Gundy, like we really wanted it to work, but the fit was like bad from the get go. Yeah. Whereas this is like, oh cool, the possibly one of the like greatest pure offensive coaches of all time. And just a bunch of guys who have no idea how to defend and love shooting threes. Like, yeah, it's a fit that'll only happen so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I got for the Hornets.
Yeah.
But
Well, should we just punch through some news items maybe?
the Woodsman.
Yeah, the Woodsman. So, Houston Rockets trading Christian Wood to the Dallas Mavericks for the 26th pick in the 2022 draft. And then just some absolute huge names here. Boban Marjanovic. Oh my God. Trey Burke. Are you serious? You're letting that go? Marquise Chris. Wow. Fuck, the Rockets, they're going to be stacked next year.
Is there one more player on that list?
Yeah, there was, but I don't have it written down.
Oh, damn it. I had a joke ready for this.
Sterling Brown?
No, Josh Green.
Oh, and Josh Green.
Oh, you already said Josh Green. Say why.
Why? When?
When you said the 26th pick.
Right, nice.
Anyway. Yeah.
Sterling Brown's in there as well. That's 5 players. Wow.
Oh, actually?
Jesus. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I think everyone probably has their view on this already.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of broke soon after our last episode published. But they traded 0 of their playoff rotation away for Christian Wood. And if worst case scenario is Wood isn't in the rotation and they roll out the same playoff rotation that they had this past season, and I think you're pretty happy with an organization having taken that risk and having this, like what we've just seen, to fall back on. Best case scenario is they retain 3 of the top 30 point guards in the NBA, saying they re-sign Brunson. And then they add this completely other element to their offense as a lob threat, a roll threat, and a big who can isolate. And by no means a great defender, but I would say the best option as a defensive big. No matter what Mark Cuban wants to say about Maxi Kleber, he's just not as athletic and quick as Christian Wood. And Christian Wood, actually, for your beloved New Orleans Pelicans, had some ridiculously good... it was probably 14 games, but such a good stretch of basketball at the end of that season. And I feel like that's very replicable if you're playing with 3 really good offensive players, and then you have to take less of an offensive load so you can focus a bit more of that on your D.
Yeah, the fit is so good. I think he is a good defender in a good defense, if that makes sense. Which the Mavs have obviously, as we learned, one of the best coached defenses in the NBA at the moment. The fit's so obvious. The price is so low. This is
It's nothing.
It's actually nothing. And I think Wood's price has gone down. I remember when he signed for the Rockets, I was like, wow, that's almost not enough money for him. But I guess that's what you get in the free agent market like that. And then he just has I guess personality issues, whatever. Obviously he's been on this terrible Houston team for 2 years. And hasn't really shown out apart from those first 20 games of last season.
When he was playing with Harden?
Yeah, when he was playing with Harden.
They looked so good.
Yeah, and then there was after Harden got traded, he played 5 really good games and then he got injured and it was that was it. You know what? I'm not even particularly worried about that, but I do get attitude problems from Christian Wood. And I think with Jason Kidd, that can go either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either they fucking hate each other after half a season, or I guess that hot-headedness, sometimes, I don't want to say it commands respect or anything like that, but sometimes being a hothead and having one of the hottest heads in the NBA history yell at you can kind of drive you to be a better player. Yeah. So that would be my only misgiving about this. But apart from that, perfect fit, perfect price.
I think that maybe it's not a respect thing. I think that it's kind of just a language that both of them understand.
True.
Because when there is 2 hot-headed, I can't think of any right now. I feel like Draymond would have had a Kobe and Sasha Vujacic, whatever. I can't remember his last name, but there was Vujacic was fucking scrub, and he spent his career. No, he was good, and he spent his career as a floor spacer. But I think Kobe was getting into him on training, or the first time he trained with the Lakers, and Vujacic Sasha Vujacic. I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna start calling him Sasha. Like fought back, and it was like, oh shit, get this guy on the team. This guy has to be a part of our team. He's gonna be a part of winning a ring with us.
Yeah.
Because then, I think that like when two people get into each other's face, I think it's usually blown out of proportion because I think a lot of people don't understand that that's just how they communicate.
Yeah.
I think that we are so many levels, I want to say below professional athletes, especially when it comes to competition.
Yeah.
Like, they should all believe they're the best in the world. The reason they got there is because they beat everyone else and they took that position.
Yeah.
So they're gonna clash.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's gonna happen. You've spent 25 years of your life or 20 years of your life being the best at something, and then you come alongside someone else who's had the exact same experience, and of course you're both gonna think you're better than the other, and of course you're gonna fucking disagree on some shit.
Yeah. When the Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra blow up happened earlier this season, everyone was crying like, oh, this team, they're just gonna crumble in the playoffs. Everything that went wrong with Miami, none of it was the locker room. Like, none of it was the relationship between the coach and the star. None of it was the relationship through the players. They're actually such a buddy team.
Yeah.
Miami, like, they obviously all love playing with each other. But yeah, that's obviously how Jimmy Butler speaks to his colleagues.
Yeah.
And then, anyone who was playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves when he was like, that wasn't their love language. Like, that's not how they communicated. And that's how Spo communicates as well. I think what happened with Wood this season, if I recall, is him and Jalen Green weren't defending or something, and Steven Silas like benched both of them. And then they got all shitty about it. Steven Silas doesn't strike me as the like fucking scream at you and throw a book at your head in the locker room sort of thing, which might be what Christian Wood needs.
Yeah. This reminded me, bringing up the Heat. What do you think about the Heat and the Warriors spending roster spots on players like Iggy and Udonis Haslem? I was talking about it with Sean Carroll, Deep 2 Sean, shout out the second time of the episode. And when they talk to the players, they don't talk... His argument is, why don't you just make them assistant coaches? When they talk to the players, they don't talk to them as coaches. Yeah. It's like a more of a disciplinarian role. And it's just a dynamic that I think is very important for both teams.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a role that we'll probably see more and more.
Yeah. I think Haslam can probably retire.
Yeah.
I think he can be an assistant coach at this stage. But Iggy... you saw this all through the finals, like Iggy coaching Wiggins, basically, but in that equal, player to player sort of way. But also having Iggy on the floor sometimes for 5 minutes to tell everyone where to be is in itself really valuable, I think. So I think there has to be a degree of actually playing basketball, whether you're actually touching the ball, whether you're passing or shooting or anything, more than defending. Maybe that's not necessary, but I think it's got to be like 8, 9, 10 minutes of play each night. Just, also just so you know how things are going. Like there must be such a difference watching a game as an NBA player on the bench and being out there on the floor. Like your headspace must be so different. Yeah.
I think there's another part of like being able to talk to another player like that comes with like being like living an NBA life and like that being your career. Like, let's say Leandro Barbosa, who is an assistant at the Warriors, who played with the Warriors, but before Wiggins was there. If he tried to talk to Wiggins like that, I think there wouldn't be the same understanding. Whereas Wiggins and Iggy have been training together all season. And like Wiggins understands, oh, this guy gets up at the same time as me. He comes to all the training sessions with me. He's doing all the shit. Yeah. Like I know, like there is that understanding that allows that conversation to take place.
Yeah, definitely. I do think sometimes it's like a roster spot though.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you want another player on your basketball team. When you're the Warriors and you have like just such a deep well of talent to draw from through like good development, good signings, and like good drafting, then it's less impactful. I think the Heat could just use another body instead of Udonis Haslem.
Definitely by the end of their playoff run, they were out of bodies.
Yeah, you just wanted to throw someone out there. Yeah.
But for the Warriors, it's like, what do you want? Ennis Freedom? Or do you want Iggy? Who was obviously like making such an impact in that series.
Yeah. What do you think happens with Iggy next year?
Well, I think Draymond said he's starting some like venture capitalist thing.
Oh, so he's retiring.
I think so.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't clock that.
No, I think it was in the podcast.
Ah, right.
$1 venture capital. No idea.
Yeah, look, I know people have mixed opinions on Iggy because of all that Memphis shit or whatever. But I really like Iggy.
Oh, I love him.
He's just has such a legendary perspective on basketball, I think. Like, when you watch him play, when you watch him talk about... When you watch him gassing up Andrew Wiggins, it's like, fuck, this guy's like... He's wise. He's got this wisdom about the game to him.
Yeah. And he was a superstar, I think, when he got to the... Not a superstar, sorry. He was an all-star when he got to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Or potentially maybe a couple of seasons before he stopped being an all-star. But I think that he's such a... His ability to accept that role of coming off the bench when Steve Kerr got there. And his experience... He's like his career progress of being at Philly, being this cool, like up-and-coming hot player... Then going to Denver and kind of refining his skills and potentially even being the best player on that team, maybe the second best player on that team, and then going to Golden State and then accepting that new role there, having been at this like as high as he got. He was probably like one of the 15 best players in the league at one point. But then to accept that fact that role of like veteran when he still definitely had the ability to be a great starter.
Yeah.
It's massive. I mean. Talk about Heat culture.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about like Draymond and his mentality. It's like he has played for the Warriors his entire career and he's like had such a defined role there. Whereas, you look at if you just go look at Iggy's like stats, accolades, everything like that. It's like a career in reverse. But like he really was like his importance can't be understated.
Yeah.
Despite taking like the smaller, it's like it's getting smaller to be bigger, basically. He was all-star 2 years before he signed for the Warriors. He was all defensive first team his first season with the Warriors, where he started every game, played 30 minutes a game, and then obviously the rest of his career has just been so different. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Damn. Yeah. Let's cut it there.
Yeah. What are we at?
We're at 57:25.
Cool.
And
cool.
Croxton Rooster closing soon.
Yeah. I think that's the most important part.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for 99. Sorry. Thanks for 9 single-digit episodes, 90 double-digit episodes, and let's get that first 3-digit episode out of the way next week.
All right.
Ciao.
See ya.